What's up, guys? Blake here, Modology US. My plans today were to take the Civic out to the park, clean it up, and do a walk around video to show like everything I've done to this car so far. But shit doesn't always go as planned. Because on the way home yesterday, I was on the highway, almost to the house, and something busted. I don't know if it was the hose or the radiator or what, but I wasn't far from the house, and by the time I got home, everything under here now is just covered in antifreeze. So it was hard to tell like where it even came from. So I'm gonna try and see if we can figure it out. My air filter and everything now is just soaked. The only thing I haven't changed on this car is like the bottom radiator hose. So I'm kind of hoping that's it, but we'll find out. The only other option I know to do if I can't find it is maybe, God, it's on everything, is take the radiator cap off and start filling it with water to see where it starts leaking out at. Oh shit, look, found it. Right there. Damn, the hose just split. Oh, let's see if I can get a better shot here. Yep, there it is. It was loud too, it went pow! So now I'm wondering if instead of replacing this hose, I don't know, that's a pretty big section though. I thought about just cutting it off, but it goes there, around, down, and up under the air filter, all the way down to the bottom of the radiator. So I don't know if it'll be long enough. And plus, if this hose is already split, I don't know if I should just continue to keep using it. So odds are it's going to go to AutoZone and pick up another hose. I just really hate that everything is so wet up under here. The temperature right now is just barely above freezing. So I'm glad I didn't have to like put water in it to find out where it came from. I think I'm going to get the hose out and unplug the battery and see if I can wash some of this stuff off now that I know where it's all coming from. Because this, look at that. I feel so bad for the people that were behind me, because when it was coming out and like it was going down, I guess it's spraying off the top and then going back down and under, and I couldn't even see the people behind me. There was so much steam. But let's go see if the hose is frozen. So I just tried the garden hose and it is frozen solid, so I'm not sure what I'm going to do about the mess. But now that I know what it is, I'm going to head to AutoZone and pick up another one. Okay, so that was interesting. I went in AutoZone and got the hose. Honda lowers in 71604, if that makes a difference to anybody. And I went in and got some clamps to replace the old spring-loaded clamps that have been on the car since '92. But the lady that was working, she looked up the hose and she was like, well, you're gonna need, can you just come back here and get this for me? And I said, sure. And she said, you're gonna need the ladder, it's up on the top. So I get the ladder and she's telling me the code number, you know, what the hose is. I climb up to the top, can't find it, and I'm thinking, uh-oh, they don't have it. So she says, well, sometimes they put them in these baskets down here on the bottom. And so we went through all the baskets and they still weren't in there. So she goes, well, just here, look around on these shelves where all the other hoses are and see if you can find them hanging anywhere. And I was like, oh, all right. So I start looking on the bottom shelf. It was supposed to be on the top, but on the bottom, I find the hose, the 71604. And if you look at the receipt, The hose was $13.49. Spent $3 on the clamps, but she gave me a discount of 10% for finding my own hoses. So I thought that was pretty cool. So shout out to the East Rome AutoZone. I've got everything laid out here as far as tools that I'm hoping I can get it off with. A couple flatheads, a long one and a short one for the clamps. Short one just in case I can't, you know, get where I need with a long one. Putting the clamps on the hose and some pliers. I'm hoping I can just get it off with these. If not, I got some more tools in the house. I brought out a old shirt and cleaned up as much as I could around, like especially where we're running down the front of the car. But I'm just going to hit it with a pressure washer when I go to work tomorrow. Unfortunately, it really sucks that it got in this foam air filter, because I'm not sure how that's going to work out. But all right, we're going to try and get this off. I brought gloves today. It's a little cooler out, and I want to get this done as fast as possible. Luckily, it's going to get a little warmer tomorrow and for the rest of the week. So I'm hoping maybe it won't be as bad, but it is my own fault that this happened, because I've changed like all the hoses down here. All the hoses have been changed except for the bottom radiator hose. So it was my fault for making it the weakest link on the car as far as a pressure problem. And with this motor right now, it's got a bad head gasket, it's burning antifreeze, and I assume it's on the exhaust side, because exhaust is getting into the coolant and it's pressurizing the coolant. Sometimes, it's not every time, but sometimes I can get out and pop the hood, and these hoses are so tight that you can't squeeze them at all. They have no give to them. And I assume that's what finally just blew out the bottom hose. Now I'm hoping, you know, so when wintertime and summertime come around, before you get to like extreme temperatures, go and check your hoses, do a once over, you know, make sure your antifreeze is topped off, and then it's not, if you've been pouring water in it, get it back to at least a 50-50 mix, I guess, depending on where you live. Because if it gets real cold, you don't want that water freezing in the block or in the head or in the radiator and busting something. So all right, I'm really hoping too on the bottom I don't have to get under the car, but it's kind of looking that way. All right, let's see what we can do. Okay, the top one, and of course it's like turned over and behind the VTEC solenoid. So let me try the longer pliers first. I'm just happy today that it's above freezing, at least for now. Alright, first I'm just going to see if I can get this clamp turned. Oh, there we go. Well, I had a grip on it. Okay. I think that's got it off the neck there. No, almost. Yeah. Let's see if I can get the hose off here. You may have to pry on the hose a little to get it to unstick from the return outlet there. Okay. Whew, that's that one off. I can see a little bit better where it's split. The clamp just kind of helped itself into that hole, and it was really stuck to the neck here, down there. Which you can see my patch job where the bolt broke getting the thermostat out. But surprisingly, that's what I thought happened, was that had failed, but it was fine. It was just this hose. But all that crust down there here, that was really sticking the hose to the to that water neck. So I just stuck the screwdriver down through here and used that to pry it out. All right, the bottom hose is on now of the new hose, and it's got the new clamp on it. You know, when you put that on, you want to try and make sure you put it in a direction that you'll be able to get it off with again later. And under the car is an absolute wet mess all the way to the back. And I noticed something while I was on here. My cover is gone off the transmission. So my flywheel and clutch are exposed. Great. So I have to find a new cover for that. Yep, all the way back. It's wet. Alright, here's a good teachable moment, so you're not a dummy like me. I didn't consider that there may still be some antifreeze in the bottom of the radiator. So it wasn't bad, not a whole lot came out, but still that's not good. You don't want to be pouring this shit out like everywhere. So I'm going to take, after today, after I use all the antifreeze out of those jugs, I'm going to take one and cut the side out of it to use for stuff like this. To be able to collect antifreeze, oil, anything that's dripping out of the car, I can save in that jug and take it to AutoZone and get rid of it. But never just consider that it's all the way empty, because I did, and this is what happened. Okay, we'll get the top hose back on. Oh, over all this crusty stuff, which I should probably have cleaned up, but it's cold. This is really stiff trying to get back on here. There's no real place to like get a hold of it either. But it's going. It's not very fast. It's almost on there. I mean, it's on there. I'm just trying to get it like all the way on here. Okay, that's good enough. I'm satisfied with that. All right. Top clamp is on. I'm going to pour the 50/50 in first, because the rest that I have is just straight antifreeze. So I'll pour this in, check for leaks, and then top it off with the just pure antifreeze. I'll give her a start and let her run and circulate, get some of this air out. Hondas are notorious for holding air in them. Neutral. may be a little tough to hear, but I'm gonna let it run for a little while and let it warm up. I'll probably turn the heat on full blast. This car doesn't have a thermostat in it, so the coolant starts circulating through the entire thing pretty much immediately, which really sucks right now as far as having heat in the car. But I was hoping that my thermostat was bad and that was my problems with the pressure and stuff like that, but it's not. It was the valve cover gasket. So I'm going to let it idle for a few minutes, and then we'll check the burp valve on the upper radiator hose and see if we can get any more air out of it. The temperature is starting to warm up some now, so we're going to check the burp valve and see if we can get it to burp any. Saw a couple bubbles. Look at all the antifreeze burning off of it now. If you can see it. Both the hoses are doing good, or the hose is doing good. There's no leaks. We got warmer air, so it's circulating through the heater core good. All right. I mean, it's warmer than it normally is. It's usually not even this warm going to work, but of course going to work is like 16 degrees, 15 degrees. So that's nice. That's a nice change. Okay, I think that's it. The motor's just a steaming, stinky mess, but everything seems to be all right. It's warming up good. Still got heat. So tomorrow before I go to work, I'll just check the antifreeze again and top it off if I have to. The overflow was still full, so that's a plus. But yeah, I'll just check it again in the morning and see how it looks before I take off. All right, well, that's it. Thanks for watching, everybody.